already entered a pitch. So we insert above the Montero at bat, pick pitch, and we want to choose strike taken. One more thing needs to be done though, and that is to check the box for process end plate appearance. Otherwise, the software will record the pitch but not the strikeout. If you choose strike taken with that box checked, the fix is made. The most troublesome fixes are the ones involving runner advancement, like with the example before with Thompson and Bocock. Here, let's say Montero singles and Corona advanced to third. However, we only advanced him to second. If you see this right away, you just delete the ball in play, redo the play, and all should be good. However, here we continued with the rest of the inning, so our fix is more complicated. First, let's rescore the Montero hit using the Edit Scoring feature in Modify mode. Choose Single. This time advance Corona to third, and we had the right fielder fielding the hit. All is good here, so we're done with this part. Now we need to fix the location of the runners, like in the previous example. Bring up Modify mode on the Montero, ball in play. Here we see Corona is on second when he should be on third, so change the drop down of the runner on second to none, and change the drop down of the runner on third to Corona. Once this is done, hit save and next. Now we need to repeat this process for each instance where we see Corona on the wrong base. Alright, we've gotten to the end, so we hit save and close, and we're finished. In this section, we'll go over any miscellaneous things that didn't really deserve a section all to itself. First up is adjusting RBIs. The software is generally good with RBIs, but every now and then you'll need to make a manual adjustment. Most of the time, this will occur on a play involving an error. For instance, here, Dorda reaches on an error by the second baseman, but because the second baseman didn't try to make a play at the plate, the run would have scored even without the error. So, the official scorer gives Dorda an RBI. However, you see that Dorda is missing an RBI when checking the box score. To make the adjustment, right-click on Dorda's ball in play. Now, we see an option for runs, since a run scored on the play. Hold your mouse over that, and then on the right it has the name of the player scoring the run, which is necessary because sometimes multiple players score a run on the same play. Hold your mouse over that, and you will see some options. The fourth one concerns RBIs. There is no check mark before RBI to Melvin Dorda, so we're not crediting Dorda with an RBI here. Simply click RBI to Melvin Dorda to award the RBI. If you go back into this menu, you can see the RBI is now assigned. Earned runs are impossible to always get right, as it's often up to the official scorer's interpretation whether a run is earned or unearned. Therefore, you will often need to adjust earned and unearned runs. For instance, here, Ransom's run is marked as unearned, but the official scorer calls it earned since there are no outs and the second baseman didn't try to make a play on the runner scoring, so the run would have scored even if no error was committed. Right-click Dorda's ball in play, and then mouse over Runs, and then Cody Ransom. The first three options concern earned runs. Both earned indicates the run is earned to both the pitcher and the team, while pitcher earned means the run is only earned to the pitcher, and team earned means the run is only earned to the team. Since none of these have a check mark before them, the run is currently unearned. The vast majority of the time, if a run is earned to the pitcher, it's also earned to the team, so you should only have to click both earned when making a change, except in a very rare situation. I click both earned, and now you can see the software says Ransom's run is earned. Good plays will get entered at the end when you see the final confirmation screen. For instance, here we see Andy Tracy flew out to the right fielder. Let's say the right fielder made a good play here. We hit the GFP button and select the right fielder. You'll get the final confirmation screen again in case you need to do anything else. This time, select No More Events, and you're done. Entering a catcher block is an easy thing to take care of. Earlier, you might have seen that you can assign a catcher block by using dependent event. However, catcher blocks occur often enough that we felt there should be a way to enter them quicker. At the bottom is a box labeled Catcher Block that you should select before entering a pitch that was a catcher block. You can select this either by clicking the box or by using the period key on the number pad. Let's say the first pitch to Hoover is a ball that was a catcher block. So I select Catcher Block, and then I enter the ball. As you can see, the catcher block is recorded. I strongly urge everyone to check out the complete written definition of a catcher block in the handbook. I'm not going to repeat that definition here, but it spells out objectively what we're trying to keep track of here. We have recently expanded the definition of a shift hit. We now have distinctions between extreme overshifts, like what you would see for a guy like David Ortiz, and other situations, such as when the infield is playing in. Please consult the handbook for complete written definitions. Here, we're going to give you a visual example for each of the 4 possible ways a shift can be categorized.
The 2-pitch on the ground, just serves it against the shift and into left. A single for David Ortiz aboard here in the first inning.
This is an obvious example of a traditional shift affected play. Due to the overshift, the third base position is unoccupied, and Ortiz hit a routine grounder right to the normal position of the third baseman. That becomes a hit.
His attention will go from Andy Pettit and A.J. Burnett and others of the Yankees to Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. Here is out number 2.
We can see an overshift is on as 3 players are on the right side of the infield. However, in this example, Ortiz hits a routine grounder to first that is at the normal position of the first baseman. Therefore, the play would have still been made by the first baseman even without the shift, so we call this a traditional shift unaffected play.
And there's a base hit. So they're going to hold Lillibridge at third.
To the strike zone, Francona comes out. That's going to be it for Beckett. Leave the base.
I wanted to show the replay at the end because you can clearly see the infield in, so a non-traditional shift applies. The only question is whether the play was affected or not. This is clearly affected though, as the shortstop came close to making the play by diving, even while playing in, so if he was back at his normal position, he should have been able to field the ball.
Patterson into center field. From third base comes Hall. Red Sox will walk off with a win from Fenway.
Here, you can clearly see the infield in, so we know that there's a non-traditional shift. This one is unaffected because it was a hard shot right back through the middle, so even if the second baseman was playing at his normal spot, he wouldn't have been able to get to that ball. The last thing we'll cover in this section is wall balls. There are 2 types of wall balls, ones that are within reach and those that are out of reach. Wall balls that are within reach are much more common simply because our definition of within reach is that an outfielder could have caught it if he was back and in position to make the play. Basically, this means that if you can rob a home run at a wall, that you can't have a wall ball that is out of reach. We'll show 2 examples next of each type of wall ball.
This is driven to deep left field. Back goes Hall. That is off the top of the scoreboard. Hall quickly plays it as Crawford is into second base standing.
Straight away center field. Victorino on the run with his back to the infield. That one is off the wall and it shoots away from Victorino. Maven can fly and he's on his way to third and he'll get there sliding.
In the first example, the ball hit off the wall above the scoreboard on the green monster. This is too high for an outfielder to jump up and make the play, so it's out of reach. In the second example, the ball hit midway up a 6-foot wall in center field, which is clearly within reach if the center fielder had been playing deeper. Conveniently, the software performs an autosave after events are entered. Therefore, if something happens, such as the power going out or accidentally closing your game, you will never lose much data. You may have to re-enter a batter depending on the situation, but you should generally be able to just pick up where you were. Let's see what happens if I were to close my game by mistake and how I would go about retrieving my game. First, you'll need to restart the software, which I've already done. Now you need to pick up your game. So, go to File and select Open. The software should default to look in the location where your games are saved, which is Documents/BIS. If you're not looking in the proper folder, you'll need to browse to the proper location. Let's say it was looking for files on your desktop instead. Now, browse to your Documents folder. Not all computers are the same, but on mine, I have links on the side to places that I commonly browse to. Documents is the folder I'm looking for, so I select that. Now, I want my BIS folder, so I find it and open it. Now I see a list of games, but there is no easy way to tell which one I want. Generally, you want to open the game with the most recent timestamp. The easiest way to do this is to change the view to details and sort by date modified. So, I click the drop down by views and select details. Now, I click date modified at the top to sort this way, making sure that the most recent games are up top. Here, we can easily see that this closed version of the game is the most recent. Often this will be the case as the software does perform a save upon closing. So, I'll select this file and hit open. Now, I've got my game back. I need to set up the general options to my preferences again, and once I've done that, I can pick up scoring the game. If you need to stop scoring while in the middle of the game, this is easy to take care of. Just hit File in the upper left and select Save. Now, close the game and your work should all be saved. You can pick up scoring the game at a later time by following the instructions for recovering a game closed by accident. Upon recording the third out in the top of the ninth with the home team winning, or the bottom of the ninth with the away team leading, the software will prompt you to end the game. The software understands baseball rules in that it knows the home team doesn't bat in bottom 9 if they're ahead, and that the game continues if it's tied after 9. Here, the home team is winning, and the game is 1 strike away from being over. Let's say the last pitch is a swinging strike. Now, the software asks if I want to end the game. Say yes, and now you need to enter the winning, losing, and saving pitcher. Here, Mike Stutes was the winner, so I choose him in the drop-down. Hector Noesi took the loss, and Brian Gordon got a save. Still, there are times you may have to manually end the game. This can happen if the home team gets a walk-off win. The software knows that a game continues if it's tied after the 9th, or is over if one team is leading after the 9th, but it doesn't know that the home team stops batting if it scores the decisive run. The other common time you'll need to manually end the game is if it's stopped early due to weather. Let's say you had a game